Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 3 of my Clockwork Empires playthrough, although, of course, the first episode was just essentially patch notes, me reading patch notes. So this is the second episode of me playing through the colony on a new start, and I'm sure you've all heard this dozens of times before. At the conclusion of last episode, I'd realized I'd forgotten some vital components, like ovens in my kitchen, or setting workers to mine some of this rock here. So we're getting on that now. And now that the kitchen has ovens, I am going to assign a work crew here. I'm going to leave Pansy Smithhewer and her workers here mining up the corn as one does. I'm going to have Lenora Ironwick in the kitchen. You'll be my cook. And this should be interesting because she also wants to eat human meat, which is what this little icon means. So, hopefully that won't cause any problems in the future. We set a basic amount of minimum level of 10 food at all times in the kitchen. Now there is one minor concern. A bug has, just through reading the forums and stuff, there was a bug in the kitchens in that the kitchens were not respecting the maximum, I'll get back to you on that. I've got a new overseer. Excellent. Actually, and some new blight has been shed on the way in which overseers are assigned to a colony, so I will get back to that after I get back to this earlier thing. Upper limits in the kitchen. So you can set minimum levels for food. And basically, the kitchen workers will look at the food you have in your stockpile and they'll say, do we have 10 basic food? And if we do, we will stop making stew until there is less than 10. And then they will, instead of cooking, they will do whatever else your filters allow them to do. In this case, nothing, because I don't anticipate my kitchen workers ever not having, like, they should always be busy because food is vital. But in the carpentry, for instance, they're not busy all the time. So if you turn on their other filters when they're not busy making things, then they're also free to do other things like hauling and chopping down trees and stuff. Anyway, so the bug that came to light in the kitchen was that kitchens were not respecting the upper limit of the food assignments. So even in this case, even though there may hypothetically be 10 stew in the stockpile, the kitchen will still keep churning out food until you've run out of food to turn into stew. It was a relatively minor bug because frankly, you're always going to need as much food as you can get. And rarely will you ever top out on your allotted amount of stew, for instance. So I'm not sure if that got fixed in the flurry of hotfixes that have been going on in the last couple of days. I think so, but I guess we'll see one way or the other. The other thing I wanted to get back to, it's completely slipped my mind. Actually, I'm sure it'll come back to it sooner or later. Let's see. For those of you who are watching this at home, you can just jump back a few minutes on the YouTube time bar at the bottom there. You'll all be smarter than me, because I can't remember. So our new overseer is Bellis Sea Widow. Epicurean, fine, okay. I might actually want to switch my kitchen assignment. Bellis Sea Widow, as I can tell by her name, her defining attribute is that she loves food. And if we look at her traits, she's an Epicurean, which I suspect makes her a good chef. It certainly means she likes to eat food. So I'm going to switch the kitchen assignments. Rather than Lenora Ironwick, first of all, I'm going to give that worker to Bellis Sea Widow and switch over the assignment. Turns out our new overseer has a knack for cooking. And that's, as we mentioned last episode, that's one thing you can now, each overseer's crew already comes with a work crew name in place based on the overseer's traits and their desires and things like that and their best skill. So at a glance, you can kind of see what they might be good at. So hopefully Lenora Ironwick is a good cook. Oh, someone's seen fishmen. What am I going to do? I think I'm going to try and maintain peaceful relations with the fishmen this time. Because I want to see how my fishy guards interact with them. So I'm going to try and talk to the fish people. Now, questions come up as to the fish people intimidation policy. I'm going to be very lenient with them. Only give them trouble if they start it. And that's, as you may recall from previous episode, the previous episode, our military overseer, whose name I cannot remember, Victoria Ironton. She has the fishy behavior trait, and I apologize for never having caught this on video. But there's a process by which your colonists can become fish people, which is extremely creepy. Now, it requires a confluence of several events, but one of the most important factors is that they possess the fishy behavior trait. Often, it also requires that they have extensive contact with fishy idols and also fish people. And at that point, they will undergo a fishy transformation. And actually, their model changes, like their facial model and their portrait. And they become fishier and fishier, and depending on your townspeople's disposition toward fish people, your colonists might be fine with it. Or they might not. They might chase and hunt down your new fish person colonist. Look at that. A wave of immigrants. So, a single lower class immigrant and a new overseer. The new overseer is Muriel Brazenton. The only reason I'm paying attention to whether or not these new overseers are male or female is because I have a bunch of names from you, my loyal viewers, you've submitted your names for inclusion into the colony. Unfortunately, most of you are male, and this time it just so happens that practically all the overseers are female. So I don't want to assign you guys. I don't want to assign male viewers to female overseers or vice versa. But if this continues, I might just start assigning viewer names to these random lower class laborers. So how are we doing? Maybe I shouldn't have thrown up the maize field right in the field of boulders. Although, now that I look at it, it doesn't look like the boulders have hampered the growing of corn in any way. So maybe that's okay. We've built some... Oh, that's right. That's what I was going to do. We've built some cots. I think I'm actually going to build a workshop. Ceramics workshop doesn't need to hold a lot of modules, so it can actually be relatively small. But I'm going to start jamming modules into my existing buildings. What does the ceramics workshop need? It needs a stone kiln to turn clay into bricks, and a workbench so that... Oops. Oh, good enough. Nah, I'm going to move out. There we go. And a workbench, so I can use the ceramics workshop to build modules that require clay and brick, and some of them need stone as well. And in the meantime, because I've got 6 cots, I'm going to start putting those down, realizing I had neglected to place any cots. Now each cot will contribute negatively toward the condition or the quality of a workshop, as we can see here. So this workshop has 1 window, which is a +1 on the quality meter, you could say, but it's got 2 workbenches, each of which reduces quality by 1, for a total of -1. And each of these cots will also reduce it by a further 1, which means the quality will plummet to -3. Each rank is 2 slots, or 2 spaces on the quality value chart. Or it should be, as soon as I refresh this. Right, so the quality now is uncomfortable. So to combat this, and just to ensure that the people who sleep and work in there don't hate it, I'm going to stick on a couple of windows. Each window contributes positively to the condition of to the condition of a workshop. So, let's put in a cheap cabinet as well. There we go. So that should bring the net condition back up to 0. Of course, a cabinet is a piece of furniture that I actually have to build in the workshop. Queue up one of these. There we go, and now it won't be a terrible place to sleep or work. And I've still got 4 modules in the storehouse. So let's get some of you in them. Yeah, there's enough room in here. Throw some of you in the kitchen. Should be fine, and also I'll be wanting some windows and some furniture. And that's the autosave. So, the colony's not doing too badly. Despite my having forgotten a couple of vital components, I think we're doing okay. Oh, and another space-saving tip, because the interior space of these buildings is often quite limited, as you're cramming in modules, and you don't want to make the buildings too big or they'll consume lots of stone. And if you're in the jungle, then stone is quite scarce, so I tend to make buildings small, which means they tend not to have a lot of room for internal modules. And you can one solution is to make your buildings very big, of course, but another you can actually put modules on both sides of a wall, is what I'm saying. You can see on the interior wall there is a cot here. On the exterior wall, there is a window here. So there's a number of modules, decorative modules. Most of these, like the mounted beetle heads and the aurochs head, those must be mounted inside. Whereas there are certain exterior modules, like the various windows, and also these signs and this venting here. And those can go on the outside. So those can occupy both sides of a wall, which effectively doubles the amount of space you have available for you to decorate a building and make it not terrible. This grass is really bugging me. Okay, so the ceramics is on its way. We've got all the materials we need. We just need to get it constructed. Certainly seem to have a lot of modules in here. What's up with that? There's that cabinet we ordered. Oh, here's another minor bug. Sometimes when you order modules constructed at workshops, in this case wooden furniture at the carpentry, your carpenters will build multiple. So you might recall I only ordered 1 cabinet, and we can see that trying to click on. Also, I'm having a little trouble clicking on the workshop because it's full of people, and I keep on clicking on people instead. There we go. So we can see the cabinet order I placed was completed and it's taken off the list. So I didn't order more than 1 cabinet, but they built 2. And the reason this happens, first of all, the module system is relatively new. Only the most recent couple of, it's only been in the most recent couple of revisions. But also, when you order a module built, basically the workers in that workshop do not check to see what each other are doing. So if you've got 2 workers and one of them starts on a cabinet and the other one walks in with a load of lumber and he says, oh, there's a standing order for a cabinet. He doesn't check to see that the other worker is also building a cabinet. So he also starts on a second cabinet. And what happens in that case is 2 cabinets get built. That's just a very minor bug, but it does mean in this case now I have 2 cabinets. That's not really a problem because I certainly need decor in my ceramics workshop. So I've got an extra cabinet in storage, and now I've got an extra cabinet, a decorative cabinet in the ceramics workshop. At this point, I think I've got a steady supply of food. Although, now that I look at it, it does not look like we're cooking food faster than my colony can eat it. So I may consider putting more colonists on the farm crew, possibly starting a second farm, and I actually might want to do that anyway because I'm going to start needing flax plants with which to make beds. I'm going to start running out of beds very quickly. Otherwise, I think we're doing okay. I might even consider starting on the brick production as soon as Drusilla Brazencotter here finishes assembling the ceramics workshop. So, the colony's off to a good start. I am still concerned that I haven't seen any hematite anywhere. Let's get this forged, and I'm actually going to send out the soldiers just to patrol the perimeter. Maybe we'll be able to stumble upon some hematite. Alright, Victoriana Ironton. Let's see what you can see. Now we've got a lot of these unexplored resource nodes as well, so I might consider, oh, the ceramics workshop is done, might consider setting up the naturalist office so that I will have naturalists who will automatically go out and explore those nodes and hopefully stumble upon a hematite node. Because at this rate, as far as I can tell, I think the limiting factor is going to be the availability of iron. You don't need too big an office. There we go. That will be our new naturalist office. Can give you a chemistry workbench and, let's say, a window. Okay, haven't found anything yet. Let's have you explore down here. Oh, what's this? There's a ravenous herd incoming. Maybe I need my gun-wielding guards back in town. Yep, no... Oh, there is an aurochs, I guess. There seems to be a lot of beef in the area, which is good. I mean, it's good for food. Right, let's rally our crew back here. Actually, we've got so little corn growing. I'm not too worried about the ravenous herd. This might actually be a net positive for us. They'll demolish the little immature corn plants, and also they killing the beetles will give us like a bunch of beetle meat, probably around 20, depending how many giant beetles we're attacked with. So each giant beetle, of which there are typically 2 and 3 per ravenous herd event, each of those gets killed, can be butchered for, I think, 2 or 3 beetle meat. But when they die, they also spew out the 2 different kinds of medium-sized beetles, each of whom can be killed and then butchered for 1 beetle meat. And also, like a dozen of the little tiny beetles, which don't provide meat. Those are actually, in my opinion, those are the worst kind of beetles, because there is a swarm of them, and your ability to squish them is limited by the amount of colonists present, and they can wreak a lot of damage to your crops in the short time that they're present. And it looks like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of beetles. Okay. It's a good thing they actually hit. What the? Oh, an aurochs has come to join the party. Well, looks like there's going to be meat on the menu tonight. Oh, the aurochs has left. And the beetles have scattered, actually. Well, we've taken one of them down. So the beetles hit us in a fortunate time during the crop cycle. They didn't hit us... the worst possible time would have been for them to arrive when the corn was just ready to be harvested. That would mean we'd lose the maximum amount of growing time. They hit us, you know, somewhere in the middle, which is not too bad. So we still got the last corn harvest in, and it looks like they took out maybe 1 of the plants, 1 or 2. And we have a ton of beetle meat. There we go. So 10 beetle meat. And you can see all the little beetle corpses that have been stomped everywhere. And the fishmen have come to check out the fracas. Well, the kitchen will be busy for many days to come. So, it's been another couple of days in the colony. Oh, the naturalist office is complete. Well, I say complete. It doesn't have doors or window, but it's as complete as it needs to be. It's able to accept an overseer. Who? I suspect Beatrice Goldenthorpe would be an excellent naturalist. Just judging by the name of her work crew, the Pioneering Gang, but we know from beforehand that she has a pioneering spirit. and works well with animals. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure she'll be a marvelous naturalist. Here you go, Beatrice. The naturalist is also responsible for dissecting the bodies of slain fishmen and obeliskians, which I think is what will make her really good, which is what the pioneering spirit will make her very good at. And I have 2 more immigrants. I have the option to turn them away, I guess, but I'd rather not. I could really use their hands right now. So I have 2 people working in the kitchen. This random guy assigned to Yaroslav's crew. I'm going to take him away, sorry about that, but I need you on farming. 2 people working in the carpenter's office. Yeah, so all seems well with the colony, and we are well underway. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there in the interest of time. We've seen a couple of things, like how the module system, box module system works, and some crop considerations. And so I think our only pressing concern is locating hematite soonish. Also, Victoria Ironton she witnessed the infinite terror and malinvastus of the cosmos and has been experiencing maddening visions and just tried to form a cult. But Pansy Smithhewer was having none of it. Well, we'll leave it there. So that's episode 3 of Life in the Colony. The game is Clockwork Empires. My name is Alfred. The game's in alpha. You'll probably notice gaps here and there and bugs and balance issues. But the game is pretty solid where it stands. I do these playthroughs about once a month every time it gets updated to the stable branch. And in between stable branch releases, there are experimental branch releases for those who like to live on the edge and occasionally have their games crash. But yeah, that's the Colony of New Antipodia. So I'm going to continue the series for a couple more episodes. And if you found this interesting, you might consider looking into getting the game yourself. It's available on Steam, again, early access. Otherwise, thanks very much for tuning in. I will see you next time.